What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, in this final fight prediction, I have Jose El Rayo Venezuela bouncing back from his only loss in his career in his absolute last fight when El Rayo, who was a lightweight, blue chip prospect, star, title contender. El Rayo is 12 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 8 wins by way of knockout. One time in his career, he was knocked out. He is 23 years of age, 5'10" with a 70-inch arm reach, and he's a southpaw as well, as he's going to take on super featherweight title contender, now lightweight title contender, and Christopher Little B Hop Primetime Colbert. Chris Colbert is 16 wins, 1 loss, no draw, 6 wins by way of knockout. He is 5'8" with a 71-inch arm reach, and he is an orthodox fighter, and he too is coming off of a loss. He lost a 12-round unanimous decision, to which he got dropped in the fight by former undefeated WBA, now WBA super featherweight world champion in Dominican star boxer Hector Garcia. Hector Garcia, he beat Chris Colbert in a shocking upset victory, okay? And Venezuela, Jose Venezuela, he lost to Edward De Los Santos in his last fight, and he got knocked out in the 3rd round of his fight. He got blasted out the water by Edward De Los Santos, right? And, both of these fighters are coming off of losses. And, the reason that I'm picking El Rayo, Jose, to win this fight over Chris Colbert is because he's a bigger guy, okay? He is 5'10", 70-inch arm reach. He's a southpaw, okay? He's bigger, he's stronger. He's going to rehydrate bigger than Chris Colbert did, okay? Chris Colbert is coming up from 130 to 135, right, to attempt to, become a challenger, a title contender in this division, although he did state that he is willing to drop back down to 130 so he can have a rematch with Hector Garcia. So with that said, Jose Venezuela is the bigger fighter, okay? He's a southpaw, he's aggressive, and Chris Colbert is not the biggest puncher in the world, okay? So I don't believe that Chris Colbert is going to have enough tools in the toolbox to keep Jose off of him, okay? Now, I believe he's the better pure boxer. He's slick, he's a pure boxer, combination puncher, and he does have, he does have sneaky power, okay? So with that said, I just don't think he has enough to keep Jose honest, to keep him not from being aggressive. Even in his knockout loss to Edward De Los Santos, he was aggressive in that fight, and that's what ultimately got him knocked out in that fight. But Edward De Los Santos, who is 15 wins, 1 loss, no draw, 14 wins by way of knockout, 23 years of age, southpaw, 5'8" with a 70-inch arm reach. So just listen to what I told you. In 16 fights, he has 14 knockouts. Chris Colbert is not that guy, okay? Chris Colbert does not have that type of knockout power, okay? He is a finesse fighter that when we saw, he has a total of 6 knockouts in 17 fights. And when we saw the fight with Hector Luis Garcia, he was getting roughed up in that fight. He was getting out physical than Hector Garcia in 17 fights. 16 wins, 1 loss, no draw, 10 wins by way of knockout. 31 years of age. He's a southpaw too, 5'9" with a 67-inch arm reach. So he's shorter than El Rayo. He's a southpaw as well. He's not as big as El Rayo, right? But his aggression. Now, I think Hector Garcia is a better pure boxer than El Rayo, Olympian out of the Dominican Republic. So I definitely think that, he is a better boxer, Hector Garcia. But the fact that when Hector Garcia was physical, it wasn't that he was outboxing Chris Colbert. See, you're not going to outbox Christopher Colbert. You have to out-physical Christopher Colbert. And that's what I believe Hector Garcia did in his last fight. He was much more physical. Once he started to get physical with Chris Colbert, you could see the look on Chris Colbert's face is that he just didn't want to, engage, right? It was like many people felt like he quit in the fight, right? He was using a lot of movement, wasn't standing on anything after he got dropped and hurt a few times. He stopped, sitting down on his punches. He was utilizing a lot of movement. not being active, and he did not want to engage, right? And that was because of the physicality of Hector Garcia. And oddly enough, he's not a big physical guy. That's not his that's not his style. That's not who Hector Garcia is. He is a boxer. Okay, he's a slick, calculated boxer. That's what Hector Garcia is. And once he realized that he's not going to outbox Chris Colbert, he started being very, very physical, making the fight on the inside, trading with Chris Colbert, going to his body, being aggressive, pursuing him. And Chris Colbert, you could see it. His body language said he didn't want to be there anymore, right? Now, I don't know what took place. Maybe he had an injury. Who knows, right? Nobody knows what these boxers are going through. But nonetheless, he just simply, refused to engage, okay? He just refused to, want to trade with Hector Garcia. And so it just made him shy from letting his hands go all the way around. It wasn't even that, he didn't want to engage when they in the pocket, but he wasn't even letting his hands go from distance because he was hesitant and concerned with the counter punches that was coming back, okay? And so with that said, I think that the physicality, the embarrassment of being knocked out in the third round, like Jose Valenzuela was knocked out in the third round by Edwin De Los Santos. He was embarrassed. Okay. He was, shocked. Right. And I feel like that's just going to motivate him for this fight. And on top of that, he knows that he doesn't have to worry about what's coming back from Chris Colbert. Right. He's not going to be overly concerned with Chris Colbert's power like he was with De Los Santos. And he wasn't shy with De Los Santos. It was just that De Los Santos was a big puncher and he just couldn't walk through his punches. Now, one thing to look for in this fight, though, is to see if the fact that, he, in the back of his mind, he's questioning, can he walk through these punches and can he actually take a punch? Because it's one thing in taking punches and sparring. It's a whole nother thing to take punches under the light. Even though Chris Colbert is not the biggest puncher, he still is a professional athlete, and he definitely still has sneaky power, okay? And so with that said, if he gets hit clean and often, because Chris Colbert is a sharpshooter, he's a very accurate puncher, right? He has very fast hands, and he puts combinations together beautifully. So if he catches Venezuela clean a few times, it's going to be interesting to see if Jose is able to mentally get over the hurdle of what took place in his very last fight. And another thing is Chris Colbert, the last time he fought, that was February of 2022. Okay, so he's been out the ring for over a year now since his loss to Hector Garcia. Okay, on the other note, Venezuela, he was out the ring since September. He lost in September of 2022 to Edwin De Los Santos. So they both been out the ring, for quite some time, right? An extreme, extensive period of time that they both have been out the ring and inactive since their last loss. Okay, and so with that said, at least Chris Colbert was out the ring for over a year. When it comes to Venezuela, he hasn't been out the ring for over a year yet. Okay, so he still, has been a little more active than Chris Colbert. Okay, because again, he fought in September. Chris Colbert, he fought in February. So that's a bit of a difference, but nonetheless, they both have been inactive since their last loss. But I just think the overall size, the southpaw angles, the pressure, the power that Jose Venezuela have, the aggression, the fact that he was embarrassed in his last fight, getting knocked out in the third round in the manner he did in the fight he was favored to, and people feeling like he was exposed. I feel like he's going to have a chip on his shoulder looking to prove a point. While Chris Colbert may have the same mentality, but his style doesn't represent that. Okay, he's a slick boxer. He's a boxer before anything. Okay, and the fact that he's a slick boxer first, it just tells me that he's going to want to look to outbox Jose Venezuela, not look to prove a point and knock him out. So he's going to be the normal finesse fighter he always is, while Jose Venezuela is going to be very, very aggressive. He's a southpaw. He's very, very big. He's trained by Jose Benavidez Sr., the father, trainer and manager of Jose Benavidez Jr. and David Benavidez. So, their style speaks for itself. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. But I got Jose Valenzuela stopping Chris Colbert in the 9th round of this fight. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon, and get all the new notifications. Peace.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV. Wow.